Okay, we are going to reconvene our meeting for February 25th, 2026. I want to start by letting everyone know that Trustee Lawrence joined us at 5 o'clock. He wasn't here before we went into closed session, but he did join us there. We always start with our land acknowledgement. We recognize that the Mount Diablo School District sits on the territory of the Confederated Villages of the Lishawn and ancestral and unceded land of the Bay, Miwok, and Northern Yukon, the successors of the sovereign Verona Band of Contra Costa County. As members of the Mount Diablo Unified School District community, it is vitally important that we not only recognize the history of the land on which we learn, but also we recognize that the land we inhabit and learn on is the ancestral land of these people who are alive and flourishing members of our Mount Diablo Unified School District and broader Bay Area communities today. And with that, I will ask you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we loved hearing all those little voices joining us. Now we have the review and potential approval of the minutes for the regular board meeting held on February 11th. And I just wanted to note there was a change that needed to be made on 7.3. The vote was 500, not 400. Having said that, I'll entertain a motion to approve them with the change.
I move to approve the minutes with the mentioned change.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. No. Let's see. Just gonna wait a minute here, see if we can get online. Okay, we're going to do a voice vote. Trustee McDougall?
Yes.
Trustee Lawrence?
Yes.
Trustee Zawi?
Yes.
Trustee Mayo? Yes. Trustee Mason votes yes as well, so. Next thing we need is review and potential approval of the agenda. Dr. Clark?
No changes, Madam President.
I will entertain a motion.
Madam President, I move the board adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Nope.
Okay, we will go ahead and do a voice vote. Trustee McDougall?
Yes.
Trustee Lawrence? Trustee Nzewi?
Yes.
Trustee Mayo?
Yes.
Trustee Mason votes yes as well. We've just been joined by our student trustee, Trustee Barrero Oriana. Okay, and so I'm going to now report out on action taken in closed session. On item 7.1, report out of the actions. Anticipated litigation. In one matter, the anticipated litigation, the board by a vote of 5-0 authorized the general counsel to initiate litigation in one case. Consideration to hear appeal of a decision in a complaint against an employee per board policy 1312.1. In that matter, the board voted by 5-0 not to hear an appeal of a complaint against the district. Possible discipline, dismissal, release, and reassignment of public employees in closed session by a vote of 5-0. The board took action to approve the recession of re-election of 3 certificated employees. By a vote of 5-0, the board took action to approve the non-re-election of 2 certificated employees. In closed session by a vote of 5-0, the board took action to approve the non-re-election of 2 certificated administrators. And in closed session by a vote of 5-0, the board took action to approve the release of 1 vice principal and reassignment of 2 vice principals to teaching position for which they were credentialed for the 26-27 school year. And that takes us to item 7.2, expulsion of student 10-26 from Mount Diablo Unified School District. Trustee McDougall?
Student number 10-26. Prior to readmission, student number 10-26 is required to meet the following conditions. Number 1, student must not enter the grounds of any Mount Diablo Unified School District school at any time for any purpose. Number 2, student will not attend any Mount Diablo Unified School District school-sponsored activities, whether on or off campus. Number 3, student will complete her coursework through attendance at Golden Gates Community Day School. Number 4, student will complete 20 hours of counseling to address anger management and conflict resolution. Number 5, student will demonstrate a successful school experience, which includes, number 1, no violation of school rules and education codes 48900, 48915, or district rules and regulations. Number 2, satisfactory academic progress, 50 credits earned. And number 3, satisfactory attendance, 90% attendance and no excessive tardies. Number 6, student must not commit any expellable offenses as defined under the Education Code.
Second.
And a second?
I'm so sorry. I didn't hear the first part of the motion. Was it move to approve the expulsion?
Move to approve.
Do you want the first line?
All right. I neglected to read point A. We
Yeah.
move to approve the expulsion of student 1026 from the Mount Diablo Unified School District. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. That takes us to public comment. All right, we have 24 speaker cards, so we're going to go a minute each, and we're starting at 6:10, so our public comment period will be over at 6:40. Starting with Angel Milan. Oh, come on up.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Mr. Clark, and President Ms. Mason. So good to be back. For some of you who don't know me or not know me, my name is Angel, and I'm a former student here at Mount Diablo Unified. I have always wanted to help other people, especially in the special ed community. Especially my attentions has been focused on the blind and visually impaired community. We don't get a lot of blind and visually impaired students in our district that often, especially at some of our schools. But most importantly, especially for students suffering from blindness, need more supports. What it means is like having more orientation and mobility support, more assistive technology, and more braille support. But the most important thing that we need is a low vision clinic. And especially if we can include that on some of our sites, that would be a fantastic way to include more students in the blind and visually impaired community. Because you see, especially, I am currently participating in a Paralympic sport that I've been playing.
Angel, you'll have to wrap up.
Okay,
Sorry.
Sorry. So if any of you guys have any questions about the sport goalball, you can more than welcome to reach out to me anytime. Thank you guys. And it's good to be back.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying in touch with us, Angel. Next is Oscar Serrano.
Hello. Thank you so much for the opportunity to let me speak. I'm Oscar Serrano. I am a proud graduate of the Mount Diablo Adult Education Program. Hello, Mr. McDowell. I recognize you from graduation day. Just basically what I'm here to say is the impact that that program has had on my life. It wasn't hard to go back to school. I was terrified when I was going to go back, but being able to close that chapter and being able to get into a work field that I wouldn't have access to otherwise is super important for me. I'm now talking about raising a family and getting married and things like that, and those things wouldn't have been possible without that program. So I really hope that when you guys look into those classrooms, you're not just seeing just like the teachers there, you're actually looking at that ripple effect that it has, because it doesn't just stay there, it goes, it follows everybody. So I'm here as one of those ripples. So please, when you guys invest in those programs, you're going to invest in generations. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Daytona Cortez.
Hi, good evening. The most dangerous form of blindness is believing your perspective is the only reality. Today I'm here speaking on behalf of my daughter Mia, and I didn't think I was going to get emotional. My daughter was assaulted on a school campus on 111 days ago. As of right now, nothing has been resolved with the police. I have reached out to Dr. Clark. I have reached out to the SVU. Sergeant, and video footage is the problem. I need the video footage to get justice for my daughter. She had a concussion. She was grabbed from behind, thrown to the ground on the cement. She suffered a concussion, an injury to her ankle, and a memory loss. This went on for weeks. The problem is you can't just state that, oh, here's the policy and it stands for everyone. I need justice for my daughter. A minute is not enough. My name's on the card. Please reach out to me. But the footage needs to be released to the police, because if we have faith in the police and call them every time we have an issue, why can we not release the footage to them to get justice? Thank you.
And thank you. I just want you to know, Ms. Cortez, and I failed to say this at the beginning, I usually do. The law is we can't respond during public comment. We're just here to listen. But I always let you know that the people that need to hear your concern are here in the room and are hearing that. So don't, for all of you, don't think, oh, they're just looking, we can't respond. But thank you so much. Bonnie Shea.
Good evening. I am a elementary general music teacher in the district, and I'm here to extend an invitation to you to a concert that's happening in March. It is the first ever district-wide choir festival. It started out about 5 years ago as a small elementary honor choir event. It's been growing and growing, and now it is going to be elementary, middle school, and high school in one place. It is March 20th, which is a Friday evening at Walnut Creek Presbyterian Church. We kind of outgrew our district venues, which is a good problem. It is completely sponsored by Mount Diablo Music Education Foundation. We've grown to where we have guest clinicians and conductors and accompanists and all kinds of great things. And our closing number will have all 500 singers in the house at the same time. So we hope you can join us. I did bring flyers. I will pass them to Ms. Juranic, and she can make sure you have all the information you need. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Melanie Gaglio? Oh, I was close.
You. Okay. You may start, please.
Good evening. I'd like to share some of my remarks from Monday's meeting with Dr. Clark, as many parents in attendance had the same sentiment. As a community member on the ground level, it's clear, I could see that a lot of the families zoned for Bancroft will stay at Bancroft. Similarly, families who have children enrolled in the program cannot separate their siblings. This means that at Bancroft, there'll be a classroom full at Bancroft who want the dual language option. This will require a teacher regardless. We're respectfully asking that this teacher be a B-class certified teacher so the dual language pathway can remain available to these families. Maintaining a downsized dual language strand at Bancroft rather than relocating the program would not undermine the Woodside program, since these families plan to stay at Bancroft either way. I think this approach would preserve the program's continuity, keep siblings together, ease the transfer bottleneck, and potentially create flexibility for more needs.
Thank you.
Please help us.
Thank you.
Tony Rossini.
Let's see. Okay. Hello, my name is Tony Ricchini, and I'm a parent of a dual immersion kindergarten student at Bancroft. We are here tonight to hopefully and finally get some answers as to why this decision was dropped at the feet of parents, teachers, administrators, and local city leaders so abruptly and with no true plan in place. We were told to call enrollment after the termination was announced, and they had no idea why we were calling them. To date, Woodside does not have a Spanish kindergarten teacher. There have been many attempts to justify the decision to terminate. And let's be clear, this is a termination of the dual immersion program at Bancroft, but no reasons that hold up to the sniff test. I believe the motivation of the superintendent to terminate the Bancroft program is because Bancroft's program has the most affluent families and is excelling. I have been told off the record that the superintendent is not supportive of dual immersion. Monday night, he was overheard by me personally telling a parent, I can just cancel all of them. And Danville, San Ramon, Lafayette, and do not have dual immersions.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
Next is Diego Layton.
Hi, I'm Diego. I'm here to talk about the dual immersion program in Bancroft. I am parent of two children, one currently in Bancroft and the other one was planning to attend. Because of this decision, we will have to choose which one of them can go to dual immersion and which one no, because we cannot split the family and the children. I'm a software engineer, and in my field, as many other fields, major changes to a running system require transitions. We don't just implement solutions, we listen to people. In this case, they have given us reasons, but no reasons to have a conversation. This principle matters even more in education because we are talking about children's. Children's are not assets that we can just move from one place to another. For some kids, adapting is challenging, and stability is not a preference, it's a need. Decisions like this change routines, emotional security, and child's ability to grow. We are not asking to reject the changes, just asking you to allow us more time to discuss.
Thank you. Alex Olivas? Alex Olivas. Right here. I thought it might have been a small person. Is there a stepping stool or something out there for Alex? They'll hold the mic for him. Okay.
You want me to hold the mic up? Okay. Okay. He wrote his own speech. Stand up in front of the podium.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I am in kinder at Bancroft. I love Spanish. I want my sister to learn Spanish too.
Thank you, Alex. Elizabeth Kelvick. Oh, I bet that's mom, right?
Cluec Olivas. Good morning, or sorry, good evening. I'm here tonight as the mom of Alex, also a daughter who is coming into TK, who we assumed would also be able to participate in this exceptional program at Bancroft. I'm a parent first, but I'm also an attorney. And so tonight I wanted to draw your attention to some of the procedures, hold it up, that the district failed to conduct before making this decision. There are 7 mandatory procedural steps that are here on this sheet. Given the very short time that I have to speak, I won't go through them. But the overarching point is we are entitled to input and the receipt of comments in writing from the superintendent before a decision is made. He listened to our remarks on Monday, but that was after. We need to have this input before. We are only requesting to be granted the public input required by law. Please pause this elimination of the TWI program at Bancroft. Thank you.
Lena or Lena Turkle? Lena or Lena? Lena.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Lana. Good night, my name is Lana. I have a little brother that was gonna start in Bangkok, but since the program is moving, I cannot do it. And Spanish is really important to me because most of my family speaks Spanish, and I want my brother to get the same opportunity as I did. I learned how to read and write in Spanish at Bangkok. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. Juan Pedro del Campo.
Hello, board. I'm here to ask you to stop the transfer of the Bancroft program, the dual immersion out of Bancroft. I'm a parent of 5 kids, 2 in middle school, 3 at Bancroft, 1 in TK. Upcoming year, he won't be able to continue the dual immersion program because of logistics, obviously. So again, I want to insist on you guys stopping this transfer. I heard so many arguments. I still don't see the greater good that we're doing, right? I heard staffing, budgeting, all of these grades. I don't see how this moving this program to a different school will improve all of that, right? So the only argument I've seen so far is enrollment numbers, right? That we need to, Bancroft is super crowded, Woodside, there's lower numbers. So it's just moving all these families just to make some cosmetics on numbers, right?
Thank you.
I'm asking you. Thank you.
Tom Turkle.
Good evening, board members. My name's Tom Turkle. I'm a Bancroft TWI parent. I'm asking you to immediately pause this closure and demand clear answers. At the last board meeting, the district presented data suggesting TWI is failing. However, they blended TWI and SEI together, obfuscating reality of TWI. The district's own data shows Bancroft's TWI English learners achieve nearly 17% ELA proficiency, which is over 3 times higher than English learners within Bancroft's SEI program. And district-wide, Bancroft's TWI English learners sit at the top 15%. So why close a program that's working? Here's the strategic missed opportunity. The district faces declining enrollment. TWI is a high-demand magnet program that fills the capacity every year through word of mouth alone. While enrollment declines, TWI attracts. Instead of closing it, replicate it. Open TWI at Woodside as a new program. Market it. You already have a program, a proven magnet program that drives enrollment. Use it. Like anything, you need to invest to get returns. TWI is that investment.
Thank
Don't
you.
close, replicate,
It's
invest.
Anna's turn. Anna Ningo. Anna, there we go.
Good evening, dear board members. I'm the mother of Lena, and I have a 3-year-old that we were hoping to enroll in the program too. On Monday, a group of Bancroft parents met with the superintendent, Dr. Clark, and several Mount Diablo's Unified School District leaders, such as Ryan, Chili, Erin DiMartini, Dr. Wendy, Samantha Allen, and Catherine Friedman. We appreciate the opportunity to be heard. The meeting lacked meaningful dialogue, unfortunately. Parents shared specific concerns and data and questions. Yet we feel like none of our questions were addressed. And Dr. Clark was the only official who spoke that evening. This follows the February 23rd meeting where the Mount Diablo School District staff also visited Bancroft to listen parent feedback. Our family have consistently show up in good faith, organized, informed, and solution-oriented. We ask to please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Elena Cortez. Is that right? Okay.
I'm back, baby in hand. Okay, so I'm a Bancroft parent. I have 3 young children and a long way to be part of the public school system. For me, how this decision was made honestly makes me very nervous and causes me to lose some trust in the district. As a parent, I did everything I could to get my child established in a program near us that was advertised as stable, strong, and thriving. To me, those are not signs that a program will be discontinued. How am I supposed to even make short-term decisions for my family if without any warning at all, our lives can be completely disrupted? What will I do if I send my next child to Woodside TWDI and that also gets cut? And I am told that I can do drop off to 3 different elementary schools that all start at the same time. We are told that the program is just moving, but we have gotten no answers as to how this is going to work. This is too close to the transfer deadline for us to be told we will have answers at a later date. At this point, I am nervous to make decisions for my children's future when it comes to their education in this district. We're asking that this decision is paused. Thank you.
Elizabeth Silva.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Silva. I'm here to ask you not to eliminate the Spanish immersion program at Bancroft Elementary. It's a special and a successful model program. I also want to thank Mr. Lawrence and Mrs. Mayo for listening to our concerns. Please do not separate siblings at different elementary schools. We will continue to advocate for our kids' future until we get this program reinstated. I'm here to talk about the process briefly. There was a complete lack of transparency in how this program elimination was done. The first parents heard the program was even in danger of being eliminated was on January 28th when that was announced. Teachers found out January 28th. We learned the principal of Woodside didn't have advance notice. This decision was made behind closed doors, and it seems like it was fundamentally made to increase Woodside's enrollment. I fully support the district to launch a dual immersion program in Woodside, but to categorically remove the program from Bancroft Elementary without any teacher, parent, principal, or TWDI program leadership input, it was shocking.
I'm sure Jorge will take right up where you left off.
Hi, I'm actually not picking that up, but I'm actually thinking about something a little bit different. Thank you for hearing us tonight. Something feels wrong about this because it's wrong. The reasons given to terminate this program, they don't add up. Dual immersion is working. My wife and I bought a house right next to the school because we care about this program. We heard about this program, and we are so excited about having this program available for our kids. I am Mexican American, and I grew up feeling at times that I didn't belong in certain places. And I remember when that happened, my mom would grab my hand and walk me away. Honestly, this abrupt decision is making me feel one more time that my kids and I don't belong at Bancroft, that Spanish speaking families don't belong at Bancroft. That's what we're feeling. My work line is in higher education. I understand the power that the board has. I would like to ask you to please oversee this decision, and I want to pass out an analysis that I made.
Thank you.
Danelle Lucian. Do you have an extra one for the table over there on the way out? Danelle?
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for your time. My name is Danelle Lucero, and I'm the parent of a second grader, Mason, at Bancroft, where the two-way dual immersion program has been successful for over 10 years. My son is thriving in this program. His younger sister is expected to start kindergarten this fall and join him on his Spanish learning journey, or rather she was, until we learned that the program would be phased out at his school just days before kindergarten enrollment started. This decision has placed families like mine in an impossible position. Phasing out the program abruptly does not give parents adequate time to plan. Splitting siblings between different schools so they can both access the same program is not a realistic or humane solution for working families. And most concerning, this decision appears to have been made without meaningful input from the families and educators who are most affected. Dual immersion is not an experimental program at Bancroft Elementary. It is established, proven, and deeply valued by this community. When decisions of this magnitude are made without transparency or engagement, it erodes trust and raises serious questions. Please
you.
pause. Thank you.
Mason, Laura Pierre, Mason. Yep.
Oh, great. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Hi, board members. My name is Mason Luca, and I go to Bancroft. I'm in second grade in the two-way dual immersion program. My sister Mila starts kindergarten in the fall. I am really sad that she won't be able to learn Spanish with me, and I don't want her to go to a different school. Please pause the phase out of Bancroft. Thank you.
Acacia Clark. Acacia Clark. Okay, there they are.
Hi, my name is Acacia, and I'm the parent of an English language learner in this district. Families have watched the district deliver 4 20-minute presentations while parents are limited to 1 single minute and still do not have virtually any answers. Before any program changes are made, we're asking for actual answers to so many questions, but with my 1 single minute right now, here's 3 of them. First, as we heard, the LCAP compliance. Where in the LCAP engagement record were more than 400 affected families consulted as required under Goal 3, among the other goals? Second, the ELAC and DLAC. Why were they never consulted about the changes? The district's only response so far was, we don't need to. Enrollment Services gets to decide. So just like what they did to Shore Acres 6 years ago and then tried to undo a few weeks ago, like with Bancroft, they're playing chess with 400 families or more. Why is this being allowed? Third, enrollment and equity. What is the current number of Clayton resident students attending Northgate under priority status, giving preference for whiter parts of the district over the handful of browner, Latino, Concord, and Walnut Creek residents? Why is the new Mitchell enrollment zoned for Bancroft, which is further away than Valley Verde, or for Woodside, which supposedly needs students? We're asking for an emergency session next week, please. An emergency session for all of us next week.
Understand that everyone has a lot to say and that a minute is not a lot, but you're all saying the same thing so you can build upon each other and get it all across, but also respect the person behind you's time because you're just taking away from the 30 minutes that we allot in these meetings for public comment.
Jessica Lee.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jessica Lee. I'm a parent at Bancroft. Our families have filed unified complaint forms, and the process takes up to 60 days. Yet the district continues to move forward before these concerns are reviewed. On January 30th, I submitted a public records request to understand the data behind this decision. The response I have received is that my request is burdensome, along with continued extensions granted by the district itself. Under Prop 58, California and California Ed Code, parents retain the right to request the establishment of a dual language program. Please don't make us start over. We have enough students. I conducted a survey and 100% of the students or families said that they would likely not apply or it would create significant hardships if the program is moved. Nearly 89% were planning on applying to the two-way dual immersion program, and 71% have older siblings, and nearly 90% of those siblings already attend Bancroft. Please, we're asking you. Thank
Lacey
you.
Watson.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm here tonight as a parent of a current kindergartner and a TWI at Bancroft and a rising TK student in the fall to express a serious concern about the proposed cancellation of the two-way dual immersion program and its impact on equity at Bancroft Elementary. As you know, Bancroft Elementary School is one of Walnut Creek's highest performing elementary schools, and this change would significantly reduce Hispanic enrollment at Bancroft, limiting access for Latino students to one of the strongest academic environments in our community. The proposal would also redirect Latino families away from the established pathway through Foothill Middle School and Northgate High School, a pathway that has opened doors to advanced coursework, college readiness, and long-term opportunities. Access to high-powered schools should be expanded, not narrowed. And we cannot ignore the broader context. In 2022, the California State Board of Education rejected a proposal to split Mount Diablo Unified because it raised serious concerns about ethnic discrimination and segregation. And this current proposal raises alarmingly similar issues. Thank you.
And the last speaker will be Josh Newland, so he can be prepared.
Good evening to the board. My name is Kate Tunstall and I'm a Bancroft parent. I would like to talk about enrollment numbers. In Dr. Clark's letter dated February 19th, he states that Bancroft has grown by approximately 185 students between 2013 and 2024. TWDI was introduced in 2014. Of course, the school would grow with the introduction of a new program. This would have been factored in with the implementation of the program. TK was added to Bancroft in 2022. This adds a whole extra year of students. Class sizes have grown. In 2018, the first year I could find data for, 99 people applied to Bancroft TWDI, and only 55 people were approved, 28 kids per class. In 2024, 62 kids were approved, 31 per class. Bigger class sizes means more kids. Space issues at Bancroft are a problem with long-term planning, not the TWDI program. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker is Josh.
An associate, yes. Good evening. My name is Josh. I have a second grader in the TWDI program and a 3-year-old who, under this current proposal, will be denied that same future at the program. We don't speak Spanish at home. We chose this program because it's just an amazing program. The academic excellence, the opportunity to learn another language. As I'm sure many of you know, research shows that being bilingual early enhances cognitive flexibility, impulse control, empathy, and all these human characteristics that in this coming age of AI, when who knows what these kids are going to be doing in 15 years, we know that if there's anything that matters right now, it is those human traits. And they will need these things as they grow up. And it's such an amazing program to give it. We should not be dismantling this. We should be expanding it. So I urge you to choose a different legacy. Imagine these headlines in a couple years. MDUSD leads the way towards Global California 2030. MDUSD first to establish dual immersion at all elementary schools. Let's not terminate this success story. Let's replicate it. Let's leverage all these parents in the room. They're willing to give you thousands of man hours to figure out a way. And they've already been working on it. Thank you very much.
Okay, once again, I want to thank all of you for coming out and being so polite to each other. Again, I compliment your children. They are amazingly well behaved, and that ends our public comment period. But you're welcome to stay. Other than the children probably need to get home because they have school tomorrow, you're welcome to stay. Communications, district organizations. At regular board meetings, a single spokesperson of each recognized district organization may make a brief presentation. And I believe we're going to have one this evening from Linda Ortega.
What if you were wrong? What if you were wrong?
I was.
And I spelled it out. So, good evening, President Mason.
Linda, hold on so we can hear you. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Good evening, President Mason, trustees, Dr. Clark, welcome back. Members of the audience. Unfortunately, I am here again to share my continued frustration with the lack of responses from the Maintenance and Operations Department. One incident particularly was when Gregory Gardens Elementary was without power and heat for 2 full days. In previous years, I had always received a text message first thing in the morning from someone in M&O or the district office informing me that one of our school sites is without power or that there is a maintenance issue. And I've always appreciated those emails. Even though it's early in the morning, at least I knew what was going on. Typically, I would receive updates throughout the day so that I can reach out to my educators and let them know that the district is working on them. They needed to know that someone was listening. Instead, during the Gregory Gardens power outage, I had to reach out to the M&O director and someone at the district office for an update. This is not working. This was very frustrating as I had heard from teachers early in the morning that their classrooms were very cold and students were not prepared to be without heat all day. Even the food that was provided, because I checked how are our students going to get food, the students received was delivered cold. This is not something I would have wanted for my student or for my children. When I finally received a response, I was told that a generator was ordered and that power would be up and running the following day. Sadly, the generator was not operating the following day. Therefore, students and staff were again without power and heat for a second day. And this was during a storm. the first day. So it was cold. It was still cold. I checked the weather report and it was 40 degrees outside. I ask you, as a parent, a grandparent, a caregiver, is this acceptable? From what was shared with me, these messages that were sent out to parents were saying that everyone was having fun, despite the inconvenience and the chilly temperatures. A cold classroom, no power, no heat, cold food is not what I would call fun. I did attend one of the days. I walked around, checked in with the teachers, wanted to know if they needed anything. And they were appreciative that I was there to check up on them. And I wanted to make sure the generator was up and running. It was until I got back in my car and it was out again, making the second day a long day of being cold. I do, however, want to give a shout out to our students and our Gregory Gardens educators who, despite the inconvenience of chilly temperatures, maintain a positive attitude and were able to provide our students with an educational experience without the use of electronics. As of today, I'm still waiting to hear back from the M&O director when the power was restored. Never heard back. So my question is, if this happens again, does the district have a plan? If so, what is it? I would like to know so that I can refer to it and share it with my members. They kept asking, what can we do? When is this going to happen? They need to be teaching and not worried about this. They need to know someone was listening. Also, I would like to continue to know what is happening with the district's chemistry workrooms. At the last school board meeting, we heard from chemistry teachers of the hazardous materials in the workrooms and that do not have working ventilation systems. Just this morning, I did receive an email from the director of M&O. However, it did not state when the work will be completed or even when the work will start. Our chemistry teachers deserve to know when the work will start and when will it be completed. Finally, as always, I appreciate having open communications with you, the trustees, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That takes us to recognitions and resolutions. 10.1, recognition of the Mount Diablo Unified School District 2026-2027 Teacher of the Year nominee and finalist.
So we're always excited. We're always excited with this process when we can recognize our fine educators who have gone through a nomination process through their colleagues, and then we would like to, we wish they all could represent us at the county level as our teacher of the years, but we can only choose. Luckily, we're a big district, so we get to choose two. But with that, we had basically 6 folks at the very end who just from our process and from the writings of their colleagues really just stood out. And so we would like to take a few minutes tonight and we would like to recognize those folks, and we hope that they are here with their families. And oftentimes educators do not like the attention to be placed on themselves. They like to just do their work and not take a moment to actually bask in congratulations and attention. So I'm going to ask our 6 educators to please just bear with us as we recognize you and really sing your praises. So our first educator, Christine Reimer. Did I pronounce that correctly? All right. So Christine began her career with MDUSD. You want me to give the year? Okay. I just want to check in 1996 at Clayton Valley High School after earning her teaching credential from St. Mary's College of California. There, she taught world history, U.S. history, AP U.S. history, geography, dance, and ASB leadership. She now teaches honors U.S. history, sociology, and history of popular music at Northgate High School. Christine is energized by her students' curiosity and finds the greatest rewards in seeing them connect with and understand complex concepts. Board and ladies and gentlemen, and to the thousands of people watching, I present to you Christine Reimer.
No one told me I was supposed to speak. I just want to say thank you very much. It's wonderful to be recognized, and this is a very difficult job. And so many of my colleagues have inspired me throughout my 30-year career. And so I would like to accept this on their behalf because I wouldn't be the teacher I am without them. So thank you. And thank you very much for the opportunity to work with all of your students. It's been very rewarding. Thank you.
Next, we would like to recognize Erin Hernandez. Where's Erin Hernandez? There she is. And I didn't write this, but Erin has 22 years of teaching experience and earned her teaching credential at UC Santa Barbara. Since being hired at El Dorado Middle School in 2005, she has taught nearly every subject except PE. She currently teaches 6th grade English, world history, and a 21st century skills class. Erin is committed to making learning fun, engaging, and accessible for all students, including those reading below grade level, learning English, or supported by an IEP or 504 plan. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Erin Hernandez.
Hi, board. This is crazy that I get to be among these wonderful teachers, and I'm just so fortunate. And I love teaching. Teaching rocks. El Dorado rules. That's where I am. Represent. I love you guys. Out.
Thank you. We next have Julia Romero. Where's Julia? Yeah, Julia? All right. Julia began her teaching career with 3 years teaching 3rd grade at Sun Terrace Elementary in Concord. She also taught kindergarten at Fair Oaks Elementary for 4 very successful years and 2nd grade at Meadow Homes Elementary for 1 year. When an opportunity arose to return to Fair Oaks, she eagerly did so and has remained there ever since. Julia finds the most rewarding part of teaching to be understanding each student's unique needs and supporting their successes as learners. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Julia Romero.
I'd just like to say thank you for all the support I've received over the years from my colleagues, all my mentors, my family, and for the amazing families at Fair Oaks.
Thank you. Next, we have Brendan Mosley. All right. And again, I didn't put any of these years in here, but Brendan has spent his entire 18-year career as an educator in the Mount Diablo Unified School District, beginning as a student teacher at St. Mary's College. He has taught a variety of subjects across multiple grade levels in schools within the district. Brendan joined Pleasant Hill Middle School 13 years ago, where the support of staff and students fostered significant professional growth. He values teaching as a dynamic, people-centered profession that builds meaningful relationships and positively impacts his students' lives. Ladies and gentlemen, please recognize Brendan Mosley.
Boy. I guess I just want to thank all of the hundreds and hundreds of students that I've had the privilege to teach over the years. You know, they keep us coming back every single day. They inspire us. They motivate us. They're amazing people. And I feel so lucky to have the trust of our communities, our schools, our parents for their most precious things. So thank you to all the students in this district.
Thank you. And now we have our two Teacher of the Year representatives who will be representing the Mount Diablo Unified School District in the county. Now, sometimes, well, all the time when you win this award, it's a blessing and a curse because you have to do some work. You get visited by the county superintendent and you got to do some applications. And from the superintendent's office, you will get a day to, on my dime, you will get a day off to put all that stuff together and work it out. However, they rarely ever want to miss their classes, so I don't know. But anyway, the offer is on the table for a sub day for you all to put all that together. So the first Teacher of the Year representing the Mount Diablo Unified School District is April Sandovar. Can we give it up for April? Where is April? Oh, there's, okay, all right. So April holds a bachelor's degree in sociology and education from UC Davis. She has 8 years of teaching experience in our district, currently serving at Shore Acres Elementary. While at Shore Acres, April has taught first grade and is presently teaching the English component of the dual immersion kindergarten program. She finds teaching kindergarten most rewarding because it offers the chance to positively influence children's academic, social, and emotional development during a crucial developmental period. Representing the Mount Diablo Unified School District, Teacher of the Year, April Sandovar. Congratulations.
I guess. This is an honor, and I'm when I received the news that I got one of the Teacher of the Year awards, I was shocked, but also very happy to represent Shore Acres Middle School. Elementary school in Bay Point. Sorry, I'm nervous up here. Teaching is a deeply joyful career, and teaching dual language at Shore Acres has been the honor of my life. And I want to thank all my teacher besties at Shore Acres, including the retired teacher Gordon Miller here, and admin, and of course my super sharks, my students who work hard every day to do the work of carrying two language academically at Shore Acres. And to the Shore Acres community, I love you.
Thank you. Our next teacher who will be representing Mount Diablo in the County Teacher of the Year program is Mary Asibu. Mary began her teaching career in the Philippines, earning a bachelor's degree in special education and becoming a licensed professional teacher in 2012, ranking in the top 15 nationally. In 2016, she joined the Mount Diablo Unified School District. She is currently a special day class teacher at Riverview Middle School, where she provides individualized behavioral and strengths-based instruction to 6th through 8th grade students. She also volunteers with the Parent Faculty Club and supports school events and initiatives. Representing the Mount Diablo Unified School District in the County Teacher of the Year program, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mary Asibo.
Woo! All right. Good evening, members of the board, district leaders, colleagues, Riverview friends, and families. I am deeply honored and incredibly humbled to receive this recognition. Teaching has never been about standing in the spotlight for me. It has always been about standing beside my students, helping them find their voice, their confidence, and their place in the world. I teach at Riverview, a Title I middle school where resilience walks through my classroom door every day. My students remind me that growth does not happen in perfect conditions. It happens when someone believes in you, shows up consistently, and refuses to give up on you. This recognition does not belong to me alone. It belongs to my village, colleagues who collaborate and share their brilliance, to our classified staff who support our students with compassion, to our administrators who lead with vision, and to the families who trust us with their children. Most of all, it belongs to my students. They're my greatest teachers. They remind me daily why this work matters. Thank you for supporting public education, for believing in our schools, and for investing in the futures sitting in our classrooms today.
Can can we have all the teachers of the, can we have everyone come up to the front for a picture? Can we have everyone come up, all of our representatives? Families, you guys can come up front and take a picture. You don't have to.
Yeah. I mean, like gear. Something like that. Okay.
Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Yes, Laura. Oh, it's gonna happen. I got some down in my office. Do you wanna watch it? You're right. Oh, you know what?
Fun. The meeting's over. The meeting's done. Okay, all done.
I'm not that.
These are mine, yes. Yes, and she actually had Mr. Mosley, so.
Right? Okay. All right. Okay. The two, I mean,
Can I make a comment before you?
mid-
It'll be really short.
Okay, I'll be alternate.
No, it will be really short.
all right, I think we're ready.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to, sorry. I just wanted to say congratulations on behalf of all of us to all the Teachers of the Year nominees and our finalists. But I want to give kudos to Bay Point for being the finalists, teachers from Bay Point. And I just want to uplift that we have excellent teachers everywhere in every school in our district, no matter it's what we consider a high achieving school or a school that struggles with a myriad of issues. We have high quality teaching everywhere, just like because every student deserves that. And I'm so excited that both of our Teachers of the Year finalists are from Bay Point. That's really amazing. Congratulations to them and congratulations.
Well,
Selection just
I will just say it's always touches my heart to see educators to see the value of the kids in my community.
And I love when the families come out to recognize to see the parents who have kids who are teachers and to see the impact that they have on lives and things like that. It's very exciting. So, all right.
10.2, Dr. Clark.
10.2, yes. So we have resolution 25/25-51, National School Social Work Week, which is March 1st through the 7th. Whereas the importance of school social work through the inclusion of school social work programs and services has been recognized in the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965. Whereas school and social workers are exceptionally skilled in providing services to students who face serious challenges to school success, including disability, poverty, discrimination, abuse, neglect, mental illness, homelessness, bullying, family stressors, and other barriers to learning. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mount Diablo Unified School District supports the designation of School Social Work Week and promotes the 2026 theme, Unite to Ignite, celebrating our impact, and honors and recognizes their contribution of school social workers to the success of students in the schools across to the Mount Diablo Unified School District. Madam President, I leave this resolution in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move the board approve Resolution 25-26, number 51, in support of National School Social Work Week.
Second.
We have a motion by Trustee Mayo, a second by Trustee McDougall. And welcome Trustee Barrera Oriana. We got started a little quick on you there, so glad to have you here. How would you vote?
Yes.
Okay. All righty, and that passes with 5 and consent from our student trustee. Okay, next will be 10.3, another resolution, Dr. Clark.
Yeah, so this resolution, I just want to share when I was a teacher, we started to implement school breakfasts in the classroom. And so every morning a box would show up with cereal and with milk, and we would feed that to the students as we were doing our opening activities. And so very glad to see Resolution 25/26-52, National School Breakfast Week, which is March 2nd through the 6th. Whereas the National School Breakfast Program was made permanent by Congress in 1975 after being piloted in high-need schools beginning in 1966. And whereas research has indicated that students who eat breakfast have better attention and memory and reduced absenteeism. Whereas the Mount Diablo Unified School District serves over 9,000 breakfasts daily and over 1,600,000 breakfasts annually. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mount Diablo Unified School District Board of Education celebrates National School Breakfast Week from March 2nd through the 6th. Madam President, I now leave this resolution in the hands of the board.
Thank you.
Motion to approve resolution 25-26 in support of National School Breakfast Week, March 2nd, 26.
You.
Second, and I'd like to speak after we vote.
So we have a motion by our student trustee Barrel Oriano, and we have a second by trustee Lawrence. We'll go ahead and vote, and then trustee Lawrence has a comment to make. So trustee Barrero Oriana, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, trustee Lawrence. That passes 5-0 with dissent from our student trustee.
It was a controversial one.
Mhm.
I would build on the comment that Dr. Clark made, and I just have every bit of research shows that hungry children don't learn as well, and a recognition that many students in our community that these are the 2 meals per day that they can count on. And for me, even when my own kids are, my youngest is out of MDUSD schools, I will happily pay my tax dollars to provide meals for kids in our schools. And I think this is a very important thing for us to continue to support and advocate for. Thank you.
Okay, 10.4, review and potential approved resolution 25-26 in recognition of Women's History Month.
Yes, probably one of our most important resolutions that we that we do, especially in the environment of schools where we have so many wonderful women leaders, so many parents, and future women with our students. So. Resolution 25/26-53 in recognition of March as Women's History Month. Whereas women of every culture, class, and ethnic background have participated in the founding and building of our nation, made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation, and played a critical role in shaping the economic, cultural, and social fabric of our society. And whereas women have been leaders in every movement for social change, including their own movement for suffrage and equal rights, the fight for emancipation, the struggle to organize labor unions, and the civil rights movement, as well as leading the call for peace and organizing to preserve the environment. Whereas the history social science framework of California public schools, kindergarten through grade 12, adopted in 2016, states that the history curriculum of the community, state, region, nation, and world must reflect the experiences of different genders, racial, religious, ethnic, and cultural groups, and be integrated at every level. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mount Diablo Unified School District proclaims the month of March as Women's History Month and encourages all schools to commemorate this occasion with the appropriate instructional materials. Madam President, I now leave this resolution in the hands of the board.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve resolution 25-26-53 in recognition of Women's History Month.
Second.
Oh, it's going to be an all woman's thing there, Brian.
For my support.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by trustee Nzewi, a second by trustee Lawrence. Any comments before we vote? No.
Wait, I love the fervor with which you delivered that
Yes.
resolution. And I love that, especially for the women on this board who I'm so proud to serve with, and the girls in our district, as you said, who grow up to be women. And as we do everything we can, we see across our nation, the rights of women being attacked, and the safety of women being attacked, that we do this little bit of part to change that and to let girls know, and grown-up girls, that would be us, know how much we're valued, how much we contribute to this world. That was a great day, the day that we passed this resolution, and it was all women up here. No shade to our gentlemen, but that we are amazing people, and without, like, if women really ruled it all, man, we would not be in this mess. So thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to vote on it. Yes.
Okay. I think we're ready for the vote. Trustee Barrera Oriana,
Yes.
and that passes 5-0.
It hadn't popped up.
Sorry. I was going to say better, but consent from our student trustee. Okay, reports and information. Mid-year report on local control accountability plan. Dr. Clark.
Yes, so we work on our LCAP every year. We do, at the end of the year, we collect input, and then we submit a draft of our LCAP to the county. We then get input back from our county. We share that out with our community, and then we finalize the LCAP. But part of the LCAP process is that we come forward in the middle of the year for an update. And so we have this wonderful team here in front of us. No, it's all women. Look at that. We got to see that. So I mean, what is that? So Samantha Allen, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Clark, Board of Trustees. Thank you for having us up here this evening. Tonight, we come to share with you, for your information, our LCAP mid-year update. And as you all know, this is a 3-year plan, and we are in year 2 of that 3-year plan. And the LCAP is our central guiding document that, our sites have their SIPSAs, which are very similar for their sites, but our LCAP is our central document here at our district office. So I'm not going to read this to you because you can read it, but what basically the policy is that by February 28th, that we must report out to the board our progress on this LCAP plan. And as you all know, because we talk about it so often, and Dr. Clark talks about our LCAP goals all the time, this particular document is meant to, first of all, set goals, right? To talk about how we're utilizing our resources, to identify targeted areas of support, and for us to continue monitoring that support and creating a plan of improvement across all of our schools. So I'm going to hand over the conversation to one of our team members here over in Fiscal, Brenda, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about the money part of this report.
Good evening. So a couple things to consider as you follow along with the slides and the information that will be presented to you are that the actuals are calculated based on information pulled and expenditures from July 1 through December 31st. So we are in February, so the expenditures kept happening, but this does stop it on December 31st, as well as noting that it does not include encumbrances. So anything salaries, purchase orders that are being held and encumbered is not in this picture, so you will not see that, as well as salaries. Those things that are encumbered for the remaining of the year will also not be reflective. This is only actuals from July through December 31st. Another important thing to note is that this mainly encompasses the LCFF expenditures and LREBG. There are other state, local, and federal dollars that do go into this. So you might see some areas that have an overage in expenditures. That is because we support outside of just the LCFF and LREBG funding. And as well as those one-time dollars that we are still trickling out, or one-time money that we've been receiving in the recent year or two. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to the next team member.
Christina's going to click on. All right. So as we start looking at our mid-year metrics, I want to remind you that our indicators, our baseline for the annual indicators come from our 2023 California dashboard. So you will see older years, that's intended. Some of the data we report tonight reflects results from spring 2025. Those are the most recent validated results that are available for some of these metrics. And then we will have additional local data included, as well as more additional data that we can provide you following our spring benchmarks that provide an even clearer picture of our overall progress so far. So this graphic shows you a little bit about how we monitor our progress throughout the year. We have our annual indicators that show our long-term success. Then we have in the middle our 3 internal screening cycles that we do fall, winter, spring that help us guide instruction. And finally, at the bottom, we have our short-term formative checks that let us respond quickly and adjust supports as needed. And together, these layers just really help us support every single one of our students.
Our current LCAP plan has 5 goals. 4 are broad goals, and 1 is our equity multiplier goal. And this triangle is the visual symbol of how our LCAP goals work together for equity, unity, and opportunity for all. So LCAP Goal 1 focuses on equitable education for all students, with a focus on safe and welcoming environments that prepare all learners for college and career.
All right, as we take a look at these next slides, they summarize our metric progress toward LCAP Goal 1. In all of our metric slides tonight, you will notice that all indicators with improvement from the baseline are highlighted in yellow. So we have CASP and CAST results that show modest improvements from our baseline, particularly in ELA, though performance does remain below our long-term targets. At the early grades, our local literacy data is encouraging. Kindergarten has already met its 2027 target, and grades 1 through 3 are showing really steady progress towards our benchmarks, suggesting that our early literacy focus and instructional shifts are beginning to take hold. 3rd grade STAR Math shows continued improvement from last spring, and notably, our students are performing higher mid-year than last year's cohort did at the end of the year. Again, a strong indicator that our math implementation and professional learning that we've been working on this year are having a very positive impact on our students. At the secondary level, our graduation rates continue to rise and our dropout rates continue to decline. College readiness results are more mixed, with our UC-CSU eligibility remaining an area of growth for us, but our advanced placement outcomes are a clear bright spot, with more students earning a 3 or higher, demonstrating strong performance in rigorous coursework. We are seeing strong progress in student access. Nearly all students now have active accounts in the California College Guidance Initiative platform, increasing their engagement in college and career planning. We also continue to maintain full textbook sufficiency and strong Williams walkthrough results, ensuring that our students have access to standard aligned materials and safe learning environments. This slide highlights the effectiveness of the SEL and college and career lessons that are delivered by our school counselors and college and career advisors. This is a newer metric for us. We're measuring growth in student knowledge and skills from baseline to a post-assessment, and the results are showing strong gains across almost all the grade levels. With this baseline now established, we'll continue to use this data to refine lessons, target supports, and ensure students are building the skills they need. And our last slide for LCAP 1 metrics shows that we are seeing steady progress across key accountability indicators. Our LPAC performance and chronic absenteeism show that continued acceleration is needed, and we have reduced absenteeism and suspension and moved from initial to full implementation of school board adopted standards. Taken all together, these metrics tell us that our system is strengthening, and our next step is deepening implementation to ensure improved outcomes.
So for each LCAP goal, you'll see that we have slides with the actions, budgeted, and planned expenditure amounts and mid-year actuals. And so for each goal and action, I'm just going to share a few highlights of implementation. 1.1 standards-based instruction and materials. We are implementing our newly adopted math curriculum in grades K through 8. 1.2 foundational literacy. Teachers are building upon and implementing the training and decks from last year that accompany our Wonders curriculum. And 1.3 class size reduction. We have funded additional FTE for sites to support smaller class size averages across the district. 1.4 social emotional learning initiatives. We have counselors at all school sites and wellness centers at our high schools and 2 middle schools. 1.5, health and wellness. Credentialed school nurses and LVNs provide specialized care for students. 1.6, positive school climate and safety. We are providing training for teachers, counselors, and administrators in restorative practices. 1.7, expansion of electives. We have added new elective course offerings and have utilized Prop 28 funding to expand art offerings. 1.8, specialized programs of choice. A new consumer services pathway, The Foundry, has launched at Olympic. 1.9, expanded learning. Our expanded learning program continues to offer robust programming at 23 sites. 1.10, high school students have opportunities for credit recovery built within the school year as well as in summer school. And we are currently working on summer programming for 2026. LCAP Goal 2 focuses on our highly qualified staff who serve our students.
That's okay. All right, so this CASP and CAS data also directly aligns to our LCAP goal 2 as reviewed on the previous slides. And our reclassification rate remains lower than we'd like. So it is still a focus for us at the district level. Here we highlight additional LCAP aligned metrics and our mid-year progress. Classroom observations, particularly in elementary school, show strong implementation of standards-based math instruction, overall student performance, and unfortunately, overall student performance and UCCSU eligibility remain below our targets. Credential rates continue to be an area of concern as statewide staffing shortages impact workforce stability and does not account for teacher interns who are completing their certification. At the same time, we're seeing shifts in staff demographics compared to our baseline, so we more effectively reflect a progress toward a representative workforce. Oh, that's you.
I'm sorry. Did you want to go back? Did you want me to go back? No, we're good. Okay. Okay, for actions, 2.1, training for standards-based instruction. We continue to provide grade level training to teachers in the implementation of the new K-8 California Reveal Math curriculum. 2.2, instructional coaching. We have focused on data dives at all school sites and within grade levels and departments to set short-term student growth goals based in real-time data. 2.3, coaching and supervision. We continue to provide ongoing coaching and professional development for site leaders, both administrators and teachers, to help lead data-driven improvement. 2.4, classified training. Professional development is offered for classified staff and substitutes on non-student days. 2.5, recruitment and retention of diverse staff. We continue to recruit staff through a variety of opportunities, including international partnerships and partnerships with local colleges and universities such as St. Mary's. 2.6, teacher induction and support. We have 8 full-time release TIS mentors who provide support to teachers clearing their preliminary credentials. LCAP Goal 3 focuses on our partnership with our parents, family, and community.
All right, so back to attendance rate, closer to our 94% target. Chronic absenteeism is continuing to decrease across grade spans, although it's still above our long-term goal. Suspension rates have declined, expulsions remain at 0, and together these trends are showing that our strengthening of systems is helping our students in their support. Oh, clicky click. This slide here highlights family engagement and student belonging indicators. Unfortunately, we've not yet received the 25-26 data, so that'll come to you later in the year. We do see an encouraging increase in our family communication access. Our baseline was at 82% of families being able to communicate with us through Parent Square. We're now at 98%.
Okay, 3.1, school connectedness. Our student trustee has formed a student advisory committee, and the board was recently able to hear from our student advisory committee representatives about their schools. 3.2, family and community communication. We continue to communicate and connect with families in our communities through our school websites, district website, and tools like Parent Square and the Friday Letter. 3.3 translation support. Translation support is provided at meetings and offered in multiple languages. And 3.4 family nights and education. At both the site and district level, a wide variety of family events have been held, including APAC events, special education, social and educational events, and expanded learning program events. LCAP Goal 4. Goal 4 focuses on our focal scholars and addresses how we will support all students to success.
So this slide highlights achievement outcomes for the student groups identified in LCAP Goal 4. We are seeing growth across these focal groups, showing that those targeted supports and instructional focus are making a difference. Achievement gaps still remain, but we are seeing improvements. Go ahead. Graduation rates have improved for our focal groups, strong indicator that those supports are helping those students persist all the way through completion of their education. Chronic absenteeism and UC-CSU eligibility results are more mixed with our student groups, and so we'll continue strengthening those areas. This slide, there we go, yep. This slide highlights student wellness, persistence, and engagement for these groups. Our SEL survey results show that most students continue to report feeling socially and emotionally supported. Encouragingly, our dropout rates have declined across groups, and attendance has improved compared to baseline. Now, these metrics highlight student support, language development, college and career readiness. Suspension rates have improved for many of these groups. Reclassification and scale of biliteracy results also show positive momentum. And the college and career indicator data shows some really encouraging gains for some groups. Next one. This slide introduces a newer metric that's focused on students at risk of becoming long-term English learners. So we established this baseline just last year, and we've already reduced the percentage of students identified as at risk and moving closer to that target. So we're seeing that really early initial identification of students at risk is already making a difference.
We have many highlights of implementation for each action in Goal 4, which we are very proud of. But again, I will share just a few. 4.1, support for African American students. Scholars recently attended the HBCU College Fair, where many of our scholars were awarded with college scholarships, and in-person tutors support focal scholars with academics. 4.2, support for foster youth and students experiencing homelessness. SOAR continues to provide resources and services for placement, graduation, transportation, and basic needs, including the recent winter event for families. 4.3, supports for English learners. The multilingual department has provided robust professional development for best practices in ELD instruction. 4.4, supports for long-term English learners. Students have been provided with in-person tutors to support academics, as well as SEL supports to support well-being. And just to note that in these two actions, there may be overlapping services and costs in the actuals. 4.5, support for students with IEPs. Newly adopted assessment tools, including the Wyatt, with ongoing training and mentorship has been provided to staff. And 4.6, supplemental funding and accountability for schools. This action specifically addresses supplemental funding that is given to sites that is addressed in their school plans, as well as our district leadership teamwork on silent cycles of improvement across the district. LCAP Goal 5. This goal focuses on Crossroads, Olympic, and Glenbrook, with growth goals in attendance and graduation rate for those schools.
All right, so here we're highlighting mid-year progress for these schools. Just a reminder that because Crossroads and Glenbrook Academy have significantly smaller student populations, our percentage rates can really fluctuate from year to year. So we need to look at those trends in context. We see the suspension data is varying across the sites, reinforcing that importance of consistent behavioral and re-engagement supports. Attendance has improved notably at Crossroads and Glenbrook Academy, and graduation outcomes are showing really strong gains at both Crossroads and Olympic, reflecting that progress in the credit recovery. Here we have the CAS performance for these focal sites. The overall proficiency still remains low, but we are seeing distance from standard growth. These results also fluctuate given the small student populations, especially at Glenbrook, where the data is very limited due to group size reporting limitations.
So the actions in this goal, student outreach and support personnel have been hired to help monitor student attendance and provide support. 5.2 additional support and case management. Crossroads implemented after-school childcare opportunities to enable students to remain on campus and receive support. Olympic has identified seniors and paired them with dedicated staff member mentors. And at Glenbrook, case managers monitor progress toward meeting IEP goals and credits toward graduation. 5.3 transportation and basic needs support. Our MDUSD transportation services implemented a monument corridor bus route in the 25-26 school year, which has resulted in a decrease in chronic absenteeism due to expanded transportation opportunities, including for students at Crossroads and their children. 5.4 incentives and recognition activities. All three schools have implemented incentives and recognition activities to support and recognize student achievement and improvement, especially in the areas of attendance and credits earnings.
And we've made it to the end of our mid-year report. Congratulations. I want to thank our team, who is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to really quickly just say some of our glows. We know what we're doing well. We can see it. We can see it in our students. You walk on our campuses. There are so many just brilliantly positive and enriching environments that we see across our district right now. So we're really proud of our dashboard data going up. Our common benchmark assessments in ELA and math across all grades, utilization of data to inform instruction, counseling, scope and sequence lessons, and initiation of CCGI, which the more we do that, the more you're going to see those, the A through G and the college and career things increase across the board. We also spend a lot of time on our grows. And so what I want you to know is this is the most important part. And that is that we take this information and we target our efforts in the areas where we know that we need to make impact. Those areas we continue to be disproportionate with certain student groups, and we acknowledge that, and we work hard in that area, focus on English learner and long-term English learner progress, strengthen consistent data use, and more data cycles. So next steps is you will see a survey that will be sent out to all educational partners in early March, and then you'll see us back in June to see the final end and launch of the new LCAP in our third year. So we are going to stand here for just a minute and allow you to make comments, and if you have any questions for our team. Thank you.
Thank you. Any board members have questions or comments? Trustee Mayo?
I reviewed the data with a lot of pride, and I know you are the leaders in this initiative, but we also need to give credit to everyone that's working in a classroom because the day-to-day work with the students has provided these results, and the trust and love of those faculty members with our kids. So thank you to everyone that's shown this growth. I don't think we've seen this much growth in so many areas in a long time. So I appreciate it.
And Trustee Mayo, I just want to say our teachers are every day in the classroom. They're at Willow Creek once a month learning and really participating in the growth of our students. And it's just a beautiful thing. So thank you for acknowledging that.
I would just say, I think it ties in, as Trustee Mayo said, with who we celebrated this evening, which, you know, to be selected as a nominee as a teacher of the year in Mount Diablo is no small feat, because I will put our teachers up with the best of the best anywhere. And so I think it is just a tremendous reflection of the teachers, the staff, everyone who is in the classroom, and the rest of us who are there to support the folks who are in the classroom. And so just a heartfelt thank you for that.
Thank you. I think it's important for the public to be able to know this is our goal. This is where we have to keep moving. And sometimes you have to jig or jag in a way that doesn't make everybody happy, but as long as we keep all moving toward that goal, we're going to see those numbers continue to go up. So thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Yeah, we're moving along.
Review
Yes.
of voter survey results regarding potential bond measure, Dr. Clark.
Yes, so our next item, we hired a firm to poll our community to see what the community appetite was on a future facilities bond. And so so tonight we have two individuals who are going to present to us. We have Lucia Del Poop, okay. And we have and Lucia is from FM3 Research. And then we also have Jeremy Hauser from Team Civics, and they are going to walk us through a presentation. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here with you to walk through the findings of a recent survey that we completed within the district. Before I dive into the specific findings of the survey, I'll quickly cover kind of our methodology and approach. So we spoke to a random sample of 617 voters likely to participate in the November 2026 election in the Mount Diablo Unified School District. So this random sample is both demographically and geographically representative of the likely electorate. The survey was conducted as a dual mode survey, which means that it was available online and via phone, with voters contacted via phone calls to both landlines and cell phones, as well as email invitations to take the survey online and text invitations to take it in kind of a smartphone optimized online format. So I'll go ahead and dive in. I think it's helpful as you look through the data to keep in mind that when we have a 600 sample, that means we have a 4% margin of error at the 95% confidence level. So it's plus or minus 4%. In some places, we utilize split samples where we divide the sample in half. And in those instances, we have about a 5.7% margin of error. I will flag that as we go through, but just helpful to kind of say it up front. So getting into some of the context, we see that voters right now are feeling a bit negative about the direction of the area. We start the survey with a very broad question, asking them how they feel things are going, if they feel like things in general are headed in the right direction or wrong track. And as you can see, it's pretty mixed. Only about a quarter say things are headed in the right direction. 2 and 5 say things are on the wrong track. And about 1/3 were kind of in the middle or didn't really know. We did ask them how they viewed about a series of local organizations active in public life, again, focusing more on academics and school district. We do see that majorities have favorable opinions of teachers and schools. 68% view local teachers favorably and 58% view local schools favorably. When it comes to the district itself, folks are pretty split, evenly divided, 40% favorable to 43% unfavorable. And with the school board, plurality don't really have an opinion, with 39% not having an opinion. And then among those who do, views are more mixed.
It's because we're the parents and we always have to say no.
And I will say, speaking to that kind of 39% who don't know, that's pretty common to have a less familiarity with the board itself than the district more broadly. So getting into the proposed measure that we tested, so very early on in the survey, we tested mock ballot language. This is meant to mimic the 75 words that voters will see when they go to cast their ballot. This is the one piece of information we know that every voter will have before they cast their ballot. So we want to test this in as realistic a format as possible. And what we did here, this is where we adopted that split sample approach, where half of the sample heard about a $251 million bond, and the other half heard about a $529 million bond. And again, with different rates, the lower one had an $18 per $100,000 rate, and the higher one was $38 per $100,000. And as you'll see on the next slide, both of them tested very closely. There was pretty low levels of, or little difference, and not a ton of rate sensitivity. When we're looking at a bond measure, as you all know, it's a 55% threshold for passage. Both of these are within the margin of error of that threshold. They're just below it. The lower bond amount was a 54% level of support. The higher one was at 53%. So right there on the margin. When we dove a little bit deeper into the actual elements of the proposal, the potential spending areas, The way we did this is we asked voters about a series of different spending areas, and we asked them to tell us if each of these was extremely important, very important, somewhat important, or not important. They're ranked over several slides here, where we'll see they're ranked by extremely or very important. And I think what really stood out to our team was the wide range of items that voters in your community viewed as very important with a lot of intensity. And so, as you'll see on this slide, 89% said attracting and retaining quality teachers was very important. 87% said the same for ensuring funds stay local and maintaining the high quality of education at local schools. More than 4 in 5 felt like removing asbestos and mold, providing clean drinking water, requiring independent annual audits was very important. And around 4 in 5 said preparing students for college and career, providing science, math, and technology classrooms, and preventing overcrowding were very important. So these are things that had the greatest intensity and also breadth of importance. So generally what we saw here is kind of these themes of high quality education, career preparation, and core repairs really kind of starting to surface. As we go further down the list, we see a range of items. Again, we tested some different ways of talking about things. We're also trying to understand, what was most understandable to the community. And so some of these are pretty similar. But we do see, more than 2/3 or roughly 2/3 or more felt like updating science, engineering, and tech labs was important, providing safe modern schools, repairing decaying walls, career tech and vocational education, oversight of funds, fire alarms and safety, upgrading instructional technology, HVAC, career tech classrooms in general, and safety and security were all very important. And on this slide, you'll see the items, the remaining items that more than 55% of voters saw as very important. So that included no money for administrator salaries, repairing aging classrooms, security fencing, school libraries, parking and safety around school drop-off and pickup, updating aging restrooms, and performing arts classrooms. And then on the remaining slide are the items that fewer than 55% tended to see as very important. So just a little bit less intensity around a range of these items, primarily related to outdoor learning and physical education, ranked a little bit lower. So over the course of the survey, we asked voters their position on this measure 3 times. We asked it initially, as you saw a moment ago. We then provided a series of kind of positive educational statements and asked them again. And then we provided critical statements. And our goal here really is to kind of simulate that community conversation as voters learn more and kind of see how they feel having heard both sides of the dialogue. And what we see is that this is kind of the whole sample, both combined. Support overall was remarkably stable. When voters heard kind of the positive reasons that this measure is needed, we saw support rise to 56%. When we heard kind of the opposite viewpoint, support went down to 53%. So at every point, we're within that margin of error of that 55% level. And if we look at it by each separate kind of bond amount, so this is the lower bond amount, again, very similar. It's 54% to 56% and then down to 51% after critical statements. So always within that 55% range. And similarly for the higher amount, that one also was very, very stable. So taking a quick snapshot at some of the things that we shared kind of as positive educational statements and the things that resonated. We typically, arguments around 40% are the ones that really move the community and can be really strong. And I think that what we see here is merging to the top of the list were things that also aligned with those earlier priorities that voters told us were important to them. So preparing students for college and career in 21st century careers, repairing old schools, and the fact that these investments will benefit the community broadly in terms of strong property values were the items that elicited the most intensity. But all the messages we tested, a majority overall felt were convincing, including, retaining and attracting quality teachers, safe schools, great opportunities for students, student achievement, technology, qualifying for matching funds, accountability requirements, school safety and pre-K and TK investments. All of those things were also resonant among the electorate. So just to wrap up quickly on the poll findings, I think I won't belabor the point, but I think overall, what we see here is really tentative support. At every point, we're within that margin of error. I think there's some encouraging signs in terms of the stability of support, the fact that, voters consistently support this measure regardless of what the information shared. There's a lot of intensity around a lot of the key priorities of the bond. But I think again, when you're within the margin of error of that 55%, it is just more tentative. It's right there on the margin. So with that, I will go ahead and pass it to my colleague Jeremy to talk a little bit more about next steps.
Thank you, Lucia. Thank you, Dr. Clark, Madam President, members of the board for having me. Jeremy Hauser with Team Civics, and I apologize that I'm ending the run of all female presenters with another male, but we're going to have to deal with it. I'm here tonight to talk about possible next steps in the ballot measure planning process, should we decide to move forward. And I think it's important to note that tonight you are not deciding whether or not to place a measure on the ballot this year. What we're really talking about is moving the process forward to potentially putting a measure on the ballot in November. And I think it's helpful to kind of think of the key milestones and benchmarks that we've seen many of our clients, including here at Mount Diablo Unified, undertake successfully before a successful measure. When folks think about a bond measure, they usually think about the very end. They think about lawn signs. They think about volunteers knocking on doors. They think about door hangers and mailers going out. And that's actually the only step in the process that the district cannot be involved in, right? It's the final step on this slide. It's that phase 4 winning. It's why it's in yellow. But there's a common misconception that districts cannot be involved in setting up their measures for success, but they can. And in our experience, they should. And so that's what we want to talk about tonight is really the first 3 steps in the process of getting a measure onto the ballot and making sure it has the greatest chance of being successful. We always recommend starting with testing the feasibility of a measure. That is the great work that Lucia just walked you through tonight. The results of that survey are optimistic to a point. I think they are consistent with what a lot of polls are coming back telling us in the Bay Area and California right now, that we're right there on the 55% threshold. From our perspective, it's certainly worth exploring. There was a lot of indicators in that polling that showed there's really buy-in from your community about investing in your schools, specifically for basic repairs and really for giving teachers and students the tools they need to be successful. And so we think it's worth exploring further. So with your direction, we would recommend moving into the second phase of this process, what we call the vetting of your potential measure. Now, I mentioned districts cannot advocate for or against the passage of a measure, but you can provide impartial, unbiased information about how a measure could impact your schools. You can tell the community about the current state of your facilities. You could tell them about your plan to potentially place a bond measure on the ballot, and you can tell them about the specifics of that bond, how it could be structured both from a tax rate perspective, but also from a project list perspective. Now, when we think about vetting the proposal, we think about it in a few different ways. We think first with broad-based communication to your entire district, to every voter and parent in every community in your district, so that they can understand the basics and understand the rationale for why you're considering a measure. We also recommend more targeted stakeholder engagement, and we recommend that to 2 key audiences. First, internally, to the folks who probably know a lot about the state of your school facilities and the state of the budget. I think of PTAs, parents, teachers, classified staff, folks on the sites who probably really want to see a bond measure, but want to hear from the district and understand why it is you're exploring it. But we can't just talk within our own echo chamber. We also got to go externally, right, to other elected leaders of the different municipalities that you overlap with, chambers of commerce, faith community leaders, business leaders, who might not know as much about the state of your facilities, frankly, but will nonetheless have an opinion on your measure when it's on the ballot. It's always good to get to them first, right? And that's really about giving them information about your needs, but really listening to them and hearing from them and understanding in a more targeted one-on-one setting, what their opinions are of the district, of the potential measure, and if you can act on those opinions, you can make a stronger measure, right? Now, after that second phase, if we feel like we have community readiness for a measure, we'd proceed into the third and final phase, which is actually building the measure itself. And now to qualify for the ballot this November, we will need to bring a resolution back to you all as a board before August 7th. That includes all the final specifics of your measure. At the highest level, that's that key 75-word ballot question that Lucia walked through. That is the most important part of that document because we know for a fact everyone who casts a ballot will read it before they circle their yes and no. But also in your resolution is the full text of the measure itself, right? Where you're not word limited, where you can explain a project list in greater detail. You can explain the accountability provisions built into your measure, and you can explain the underlying tax rate assumptions that are built into your overall bonding capacity. And only then do we move into that fourth and final step of the independent campaign to do the traditional grassroots organizing that we know has been successful in this district in the past. And then on this last slide, I've kind of just charted that process out over the coming months. We envision doing this vetting process really through the end of the school year and coming back to you all early summer with a potential measure to consider. If we are to move forward, as I mentioned, our deadline to qualify for the ballot is August 7th. If we are on the ballot, we're going to have the opportunity to submit an argument in favor of the measure. That is due on August 19th. There's an argument submitted against it. There can be a rebuttal to that. That's due 5 days later on the 24th. And then ballots are mailed roughly a month before Election Day on October 5th, and Election Day is November 3rd. So recognize that's a lot of information from both of us, but we are happy to answer any questions you might have about the data, the next steps, or our recommendations.
Thank you. Okay, any questions? Looks like Trustee Lawrence has some questions.
And so just as we look at it, if we took so homeowners would understand that if a home was assessed at $1 million, they would be looking at potentially $180 a year or $380 a year. I just want to kind of validate that.
That's exactly correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the second part would be, I would just make a comment that I think that I regret with Measure J that we were not as ambitious as we could have been. And I don't think that the amount we asked for matched the need for investment in our schools. And so I hope we as a board would consider that as we look at the amount this next time.
Yes, good presentation. Interesting that we're kind of on the borderline there. I have a question about your funding. Through steps 3, or do we pay? We've approved, I think, 125,000 for you guys.
Yeah.
Is that through step 3, or does that include step 4?
That is through step 3. Legally, you cannot pay for my services for a campaign. So once we were on the ballot, our work with the district would be done. We do often work with independent campaign committees, but that would be a separate contract with that entity if and when the time came.
Any idea what the ballpark cost would that be for that?
For the full campaign or for our services?
Well, for the step 4.
Yeah, step 4, it depends on how crowded of a ballot we have and what the next few months look like. Just based on the size of your district, I'd imagine we're looking at something in the range of 150 to 250.
Okay. And we have till August 7th to vote on this, but we don't have meetings before August 7th.
No, you don't.
So we're gonna have to do this in June, I believe.
Yes, or there is also the option of calling a special meeting, but we also can work the calendar to make sure that we're back to you in June, so we can not add another meeting to everyone's calendars.
No, I don't have a question, just a comment. Given everything that's happened in our world recently, both nationally and internationally, I was pleased to see the results of this particular survey. And I have to admit, my juices started flowing. I started thinking about next steps already. So look out, world. Don't count this old lady out yet. I think it is worthwhile for us to continue to promote the district's successes and provide information to our public about everything that we're doing, the glows and the grows that we need to do. And through their support, I think that we could be successful. If we aren't successful, what we've done is educated our district factually about the good work we're doing. And that is an important gain in and of itself. So I'm intrigued and I'm interested.
I'll just piggyback onto Trustee Mayo.
Yeah, I'll be Debbie Downer. I'm not that sure we're
No.
going to have a free and fair election in November, and I shared that with you. So yeah, for me, the climate is not right. In my community, nobody's coming out knocking on doors. Nobody's going to be doing any of that because they're living in fear right now. So I'll sit with it and think about it, but that's the immediate thing that comes to my mind is like, maybe next year if we see if we actually have a democracy after this November. So, but that's where I am.
But I will share, there were a lot of us that walked the Bay Point community in our pride.
Not when you have ice out on the streets. That's what I'm referring to. That's why they're not going to come out.
You mean people like me?
No, I mean ice.
Oh, I know you're saying, I know you're saying that ICE will be there, but I am willing to walk neighborhoods across the district. And I have done it in the past. And my last name is Mayo, even though we're not Hispanic.
I would also counter that we had the largest, it was a single, only one thing on the ballot, but we had the largest voter turnout ever or since 2016, something like that, in November. And I think that we will have a large voter turnout this November. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful enough to take the chance because I think it's worth it to take the chance. And I think it's when we have that large voter turnout, that's when we have the best chance, as opposed if we were on an off, like this year we have, it's not a presidential, but it is a gubernatorial and a gazillion other, I'm sure. Somebody was out on the table with I don't know how many clipboards today in front of Safeway. So how many propositions, which would then I would argue is against us because when the people are overwhelmed, they just vote no. But then that's where it's up to our community if we want this to get people to at the very least mail in their ballot. Like we don't have to go in person. So I completely understand and share the like, are we really gonna have a real election in November? People are scared, rightfully and fearful, but I don't want to bow down to that fear. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks so much.
Really, thank you both for coming out. Okay, thank you. We'll be in touch. All right. Yeah. All right. Our next item is the what do we got here? 11.3, which is the review and acceptance of Measure J, General Obligation Bond Meeting, Fund Audit Reports for fiscal year ending in June 30th, 2025. We have Brenda who will be presenting this.
Good evening. So there is no actual presentation. What is brought to you is the audit report, which is similar to the audit reports that you see every year for our school district. So the difference here is that Nigro and Nigro, who are our auditors, they look at the performance of the GO bond and the financials of the GO bond. And per ed code, we are required, districts are required to conduct these annual reviews and audits and submit them to you on what the expenditures are and the performance that's happening behind those audits. And there were no audit findings based on the information that we have that was presented. And there were no deficiencies in internal controls and no areas of material weakness. So those are the takeaways from the audit report that you have on file. I'm not sure if you have any questions or comments.
Any questions or comments? Looks like Trustee Mayo has something.
I was just going to say, it's always great to have a clean audit. So thank you to everyone that was working on gathering the information that was required and working with the audit team.
I move that we accept the Measure J General Obligation Bond Building Fund Audit Report for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
Second? And did we have any public comment cards? No. Thank you.
Yes. Uh, well, good week, everyone. This Monday, I met with the Student Advisory Committee. We talked about just our thoughts about AI and thoughts about AI in the classroom, how we talked about our own use of AI and how we thought it could be presented. And I think there was a lot of differing opinions and a lot of, first time we had a good debate about a topic like such AI, but I think a general consensus we reach is that we need like our district to teach us how to use AI. I think there's a lot of misuse, a lot of misinformation about how to use it, and students aren't using it correctly, and I think it's affecting the way they learn. It's pretty short. That's it. Yeah.
He was gonna let it just go, Dr. Clark.
See you, Rob.
Trustee McDougall, do you have a report?
Glad to see you guys are debating AI because that's certainly a hot topic now. So it's something we really have to be wary of, but also use effectively. So it's a challenge for sure. Okay. In the last couple of weeks, I went to a couple of CTE, Career and Technical Education, mid-year meetings. And they were the final two. One was a culinary meeting at Mount Diablo High School. And the second one was the transportation CTE pathway at Mount Diablo High School as well. And it seems like we're doing well on these programs, expanding them, and I'm always glad to see that. Then on the 19th, I went to a Citizens Bond Oversight Committee meeting at Meadow Homes, and glad to see that there was a quorum present so that they could be making any decisions that are necessary. But interesting topics discussed there, and it seems like we were discussing that audit report, so that it came through very positively. On the 20th, I went to the leadership exchange at Concord High School, and I didn't know what it was. And I was pleased to see, I think it was 350 students coming to talk amongst not just our high schools, but I think there were 8 other, or a total of 8 high schools from outside our district that were also meeting and exchanging ideas on numerous topics. So it was quite encouraging to see this sort of student participation in the various issues that are going on. On the 23rd, got to go to a culinary evaluation. So we got to taste the desserts they were making in the culinary school. Very tasty. And I think it really showed that these students are working hard and that the Culinary Academy is kind of resurrecting itself. We lost a good teacher a couple years ago. So now we've got a good instructor now. And so we hope to rebuild and even open up the restaurant before too long, serendipity. And finally, I went to the yesterday morning, all of our trustees were at bond measure polling meeting on a Zoom where we learned this detail and more. And So this was interesting to see the conclusions that came to it and the warnings, the danger signs that we have as well. So I thought that was interesting to have an in-depth report or a meeting like that just before this meeting. Thank you.
Just to clarify, there were not ever all board members on at the same time, just so we're clear. You have a
Yes,
report?
I do. I also attended the Measure J Bond Oversight Committee, as well as the leadership conference at Concord High, which it's always nice when your own child is there and they actually acknowledge you. So I took that as a win, but a good time and lots of good things stemming from that. I did visit Gregory Gardens on day 3. And so I had heard from a number of people in the community about it. I went by, it was at that point, so they had the kind of cool seeing the giant generator going. And I actually in a couple classrooms and in the office, it was quite toasty at that point. And I would just commend our staff, our teachers, and our students who made the best of a challenging situation and appreciate their efforts there. I have met with a number of members of the Bancroft community. As we've heard again tonight, I think there is a lot of concern around the changes to the dual immersion program there at Bancroft. And so as I've communicated to the superintendent, want to do everything we can to find ways to support and mitigate the impacts to this community. And at the same time, I am very excited for the potential of expanding this program to Woodside. I think, just the reality of having a school, one school with 700 students and another school below 300, and that, having seen the impact, and we're seeing it in other districts right now of school closures, and not wanting to see that and finding ways to do that. And then I would also just share that one of the things I've heard a number of times, and I will push back on, is when people have referred to Oak Grove specifically as a failing school. And I have said this previously, but my kids all went to Foothill, and I think there are some great, amazing teachers at Foothill, amazing administrators. If you swapped the teachers and administrators at Foothill with those at Oak Grove, you would not see different results. I think that the number one impact on the number one predictor of test scores at a school is the socioeconomics of that school. And I think that I had the opportunity to tour Oak Grove Middle School with Dr. Ramos. We stopped in some of the classes, seeing that they're talking about why it sucks to be a pharaoh, which was a really underreported aspect of being a Egyptian pharaoh, and some of what came from that, and the discussions, and just the pride that I saw in the students, in the teachers, in the staff, from the campus supervisor there at Oak Grove. And I think that people sometimes look at the test scores, and we need to improve the test scores at Oak Grove. Zero doubt. And that is encompassed in the LCAP as well as our superintendent's goals. But to merely look at the test scores ignores the work that is being done. And I also had the opportunity to visit YV, and we had heard from students. Unfortunately, the timing didn't align, so I wasn't able to visit the sports med program, but I will make an effort to go back and do that. But meeting with the IB coordinators, the passion they have at both Oak Grove and YV for the work that's being done. And I think we need to continue to highlight that work and let people know the amazing things and not merely just the reputation or the test scores, but I would challenge people to actually visit these schools and talk to the students and talk to the teachers and talk to the staff there. So thank you.
Trustee Zawi?
I went, I think was the Black History Month celebration. It was the week of our last meeting, but it's after, right? On Friday. So I got to go to, or on Thursday, I got to go to that standing room only or at first outside only event. So thank you to Gregory Gardens for hosting and all the fabulously presented by each grade Black History Month talent or fact or whatever, from the TKers to the fifth graders. It was fabulous. And speaking, it is the last 3 days of Black History Month. I don't have a book this year, but it is Black Children's Book Week. And I encourage people to go to blackbabybooks.com to see, especially our educators, to see what books by Black authors that feature Black characters they could institute in their own classrooms. Last time that I was here, I shared that I was moderating a panel on TK and then a second one on Black language, Black English language. So last week was a TK one. It was fabulous. Like 80 people showed up and the chat and the Q&A were just like on fire. You can email me if you want to see the recording. But today was the one on Black English language. So speaking of multilingual education, and that part of my work has nothing to do with the school board. It just happens to overlap. And wonderfully, a Mount Diablo staff member attended today, and she sent me a lovely email that I just wanted to share a little bit with you all. She says, it was great to see you open the webinar today and hearing multilingual education acknowledged and the brilliance of Black English as a vital part of that space felt affirming and healing. And she ends, there's a lot of other things I'm not going to share, but she ends that referring to something that she shared, that it helps educators understand how monolingual and white dominant language frameworks impact our Black students and underscores the need to create an asset-based system. And I feel like that's really important. And I know for me saying Black English language, people are like, what? And that's what the 200 some odd people who registered for the webinar today thought coming into it. But there was a lot of early educators, a lot of, from what I could see on the registration, a lot of also TK through 12 educators, and they were all willing to learn and understand the importance for Black families, Black children, Black educators to have Black language affirmed, and especially as it relates to literacy. So if you also want to get that recording, you can email me because it was really fire and you should have all watched it.
Trustee Mayo?
Thank you. The Gregory Gardens event was fun, and every class provided a performance, and even the TKers in little tutus that had fairy lights all over them. Each performance related to Black history, and there was also artwork and poetry on bulletin boards. And then, of course, what many people come and stay for at the end is the food and the camaraderie that has developed with all of our African American parent advisory committees meetings. On February 17th, I went to the Parent Advisory Committee meeting, and our Food Services Department and M&O departments provided excellent reports. I'm sure those will be posted on the website if you'd like to see the outstanding work that's being done by both departments, and the number of meals that are being served by our Food Services Department is overwhelming. So just to imagine over 4 million meals a year. February 19th, I went to the Pleasant Hill Chamber Joint State of the City and the Recreation and Parks District annual event. It was from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. and accomplishments and challenges were reviewed by the City of Pleasant Hill. Mostly budget, with state and federal funding projections. And then e-bikes is a concern. And then the Pleasant Hill Rec and Park currently is doing a survey. A couple of comments were made about pickleball. Are people interested in pickleball? And then also evidently there's interest in a bike park. So there's a survey online on the Pleasant Hill Rec and Park District website. So check it out if you're from Pleasant Hill and complete the form. And if you're not from Pleasant Hill, complete it anyway. On February 20th, I went to the Concord High School Leadership 18th. It's their 18th annual leadership exchange. And I don't know if you were involved in all of that, Alan, but it was always an amazing event to see the enthusiasm of the students and the networking that's going on. And of course, they cheer each other on, and there's a lot of peer learning involved. And I loved it was a new term for me, SWAPs, sharing with a purpose. And that just makes a lot of sense with everything that we do. So I want to congratulate the leadership class on the successful event, and also to all the staff members who support these classes. Each of the schools that attended had leadership adults with them for supervision and for them to grow as well. I did attend the February 23rd Bancroft Elementary listening session by Dr. Clark, and 4 of our administrators were there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 5. And I want to thank Principal Linda Flynn for hosting the event. Dr. Clark opened the session with a 15 to 20-minute overview of Mount Diablo's structure and its purpose. And then until 7:05, students, parents, and caregivers spoke about their concerns and their viewpoints on the proposed changes. I want to acknowledge and thank everyone for their professional and thoughtful and courteous tone throughout the evening, and because I know there's a lot of passion involved with everyone's personal opinions, especially when it comes to our children. And of course, whenever a child went to the microphone, we all had to smile, because it's always so heartwarming to see our students be able to speak well in front of adults. I too support the statements made by by Trustee Lawrence, and but we will continue to listen to everyone. So please provide us with more information as we move forward. My last little thing, I brought it up last time, so it's one more time. You have to hear it. The science fair. For those of you who haven't heard this, the Contra Costa County Science and Engineering Fair will be held next week for grades 7 through 12. The most school districts have a science fair for grades 1 through 6. And then this particular fair is for all of Contra Costa County students, grades 7 through 12, as I said. Sometimes the students are sponsored by classroom teachers. Sometimes they're sponsored by professions, scientists in professions. Sometimes they are sponsored by parents. The judging competition is on March 6th. It's held at Las Modenas College. We start at 7 a.m. in the morning, and the judges finish at 3, and the chief judges and the committee finish about midnight. And then on Saturday are the awards. We have over 250 projects that are currently registered. And of course, I need at least 130 judges. So if you have a free day or a spouse you want to get rid of for a day, please sign them up for this to be a judge for the competition. You don't have to be a scientist yourself. We train you. You just have to understand basic science and support students in their journey through science exploration. And we provide training and a rubric for the judging. So if you're interested on this March 6th opportunity, just type in CCCSEF 2026 in the search bar on your computer and scroll down to the purple Volunteer Judges tab, or just reach out to me and I'll be glad to register you. Thank you.
I finished up, I think, the last of the pathways meetings, the transportation and serendipity or culinary one. I think I made them all. I tried to make them all. I think I did. I learned at the culinary one that on that Friday the 13th, which I usually don't leave the house on Friday the 13th, they were having an evaluation and tasting event. So I went to that, and the pizza from the True Sicilian here, I'll tell you, was excellent. And so was the creme brulee dessert was excellent. So we went around, and my husband and I, and rated all of gave them the ratings and how they performed. And on the way there, my husband made me go to Olympic with them because he needed help putting up bean poles in the garden that they've resurrected over there. So we spent a little time at Olympic taking care of that and talking to the kids. I went to the PAC meeting, which was already reported on, was about the food services and facilities. I went to the DLAC meeting where it was about the STAR data and prepping the kids for the LPAC, because we want to get those kids reclassified. The earlier, the better for them. So we're focused on that. And I went to Shore Acres to the parent meeting that Dr. Clark had there with our community. Our community is great. I think Dr. Clark had a good time. I know our parents had a good time. I think my favorite thing is one of the parents said, "We thought we were going to have to fight, but this was a good meeting." So thank you for that, Dr. Clark.
Well, I have a presentation, and I know it's getting late. I won't go on too long, but I just want to thank Samantha Allen. Last week or last meeting, she sat in my seat. It had been planned well before, so I wasn't dodging out because I knew it was a lively meeting. But I was at the National Superintendents National Administrators Conference in Nashville. I was invited to speak on two panels, and one of them, which is appropriate at this time. One of them was humanizing the role of the superintendent. And so I led a panel of other superintendents from throughout the nation, and we just talked about how we have tough jobs to do, and sometimes when we make decisions or when things are happening, we get targeted. We get, I use the word vilified for things when we're just really just doing our job. And one of the things I shared was, I'm a father of three. I have three kids who've all graduated college, and I've been through the educational process, the college process, to high school, everything, and and so I know a lot about like the educational process, plus 30 plus years as an educator. So so I can, if people take the time to get to talk to you and get to know you and get to really talk through problems, I think that they would that they could gain a lot of support as they're going through some of these things. It's not as bad as the superintendent from Texas who had his house caught on fire over a decision that he had to make. So hopefully we never get to that point. I also was a guest speaker, and I was sharing the work of our middle schools. Pretty much all of our middle schools showed ELA growth last year, and so middle school literacy is something that people from throughout the country wanted to learn about. But I wanted to really thank Samantha Allen. I'm going to purposely miss another meeting so she can actually have like a regular meeting that takes place. So yeah, so just real quick, as always, our LCAP goals, that's really our North Star, and that's really what guides us through this process. I really like the fact that we call out certain student groups and certain schools, because when you really bring attention to that, bring attention to that, you start to see good positive results. And I shared this. I shared this with the group, and there's no other districts around that really call out their students like many of the things we do. And that's just a broken record, where I'm saying, you know, there aren't districts that are doing the things that we're doing. So all in sharing our work. She doesn't know this, but Teresa Brandt, I shared our newsletter with an organization in Boston this morning, and they emailed me back and said they had never seen a newsletter like that, with that much detail and that much information. So just very, very proud of that. So again, you know, I shared this slide before, but you know, we do a sort of a middle of the year assessment. We do a beginning of the year, our beginning of the year assessment, middle of the year assessment, and end of the year assessment. So we've already done beginning and middle, and we're seeing those results. And so that's really what we use to, you know, to guide our work. However, if you want to see how it plays out for our principals, this is our team put together, you know, these principal talk documents, and so this is sort of our element. This is just one principal's elementary focus, and why I'm so pleased is because there's such coherence through our schools on what they're focusing on. We don't have schools going off on different tangents. Really, we've had to, you know, utilize our resources. We can't do everything, and so really, ELA, math, and really that tier 1 instruction are our priorities. So, I mean, you all can read this, but I know there's people watching. But this year, our elementary focus has been on strengthening core instruction and student engagement, while building systems that support consistent attendance, early intervention, and student belonging. We are prioritizing strong tier 1 instruction in literacy and math, and we are using data to guide targeted supports. And what that means, that targeted support, when we're sick and, you know, we go to the doctor, they don't just treat us for like a headache and just give us aspirin. They actually look and, hey, you got a foot pain, you got a stomach pain, you have a shoulder pain. So targeted supports mean we're trying to target what it is that the students need support on. And small group interventions. Our walkthrough and an IPG, and you might be wondering what IPG is, instructional practice guide. So our walkthroughs and instructional practice guide have been intentional about creating inclusive, student-centered classrooms where students are expected to use partner talk. We want our students talking to each other. We don't just want the conversation happening from one direction. And earlier in the LCAP, you saw that we were focusing on our reclassification, our students, and really focusing on our English language learners, our multilingual students. But having them talk in class is one of those great ways that they learn the language, become more and more proficient. And also text evidence and productive struggle. So not just like giving students the answer. So I know, you know, Trustee Allen was speaking about AI. Well, the AI platforms that we use in Mount Diablo, and we use two, students can ask it questions and things like that, but it's not just going to give them the answer. It's going to build on that and really keep prompting the student to answer questions. So that's really where you get that productive struggle and student discourse. Having students explaining concepts to one another is just something that we're focusing on, and I'm just was pleased to see this principal bringing out. Student discourse during the majority of lessons. In addition to academics, we're focused on improving attendance and creating, and I love this last thing, meaningful days on campus. We only have 180 days with our students, and every single day they come, it should be a meaningful day. And I just love how that was wrapped up. And then also, we have invested much in teacher collaboration. And people might wonder, what is teacher collaboration? What does that look like? So here's just a couple examples of what principals describe effective teacher collaboration as. So rowing the boat in the same direction. They make each other better, sharing successes and failures. This doesn't always have to take place in a formal meeting. So just those collaborative conversations. Teachers are working towards a common goal and actively engaging in cycles of planning implementing, and then reflecting, revising on a regular basis. This looks like a more intentional effort in planning and delivering instruction. So there is more consistent educational experiences for students across all classrooms and all levels. And then lastly, effective teacher collaboration has a plan with a goal. It looks like dedicated focus time looking at a problem, issue, and working as a team. This could be analyzing data, discussing tier 1 or tier 2 supports, backwards planning, or collaborating on a data cycle. So just real proud of the work that all of our folks are doing really to support our students. So now I'll speed up. Of course, Black History Month, we're very excited that it's being recognized in our district and that we're involving students. We got Pleasant Hill Middle School on the left, you got Meadow Homes in the middle, and you have Gregory Gardens over on the right. That's probably the event that you all attended. Those are the TKers. And then I love this picture. These are our students over at Bel Air, our Bears, and they had a STEM activity, which was to build a pinball machine, an arcade game. And I know kids nowadays don't know what pinball is, but I'm surprised they knew what arcade is. But these kids made a game, and the whole class did. And there's lots of pictures around this, but I really just pulled this because it shows two kids just congratulating one another. Then, Meadow Homes, I think I was talking about someone about this just last night. So Meadow Homes did a family literacy night. So they're bringing families together, focusing on literacy, having some of our English learning parents working with their students, and again, just making literacy that focus. And then also they're doing a reclassification celebration. So really celebrating those students who've been reclassified. And it's really just seeing it all come together with what I've shared with what the principals are talking about, with what our goals are. Here in the LCAP presentation, we're really focused singularly on supporting our students and using data to really see which students need our most support. And then also, over at Diablo View, they had a motivational speaker come out and speak to the students, and he spoke on topics of empathy, respect, inclusion, belonging, and making healthy choices around drugs and alcohol and addiction. His assemblies and workshops are powerful, age appropriate. So this was middle school, so it was the age appropriate stuff on those topics. But really, it's to creating that lasting impact on school culture and trying to help shape positive student behavior. This is our Mount Diablo Filipino Students Association. They took a trip to San Francisco and visited a bunch of different places. We love to see our affinity groups supporting one another and creating that safe space. And then we also had our Valley View middle school students, and they were at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. And so just always great to see our students getting out and about. I was extremely proud. I was invited to go to Concord High, where I did see Trustee Barrera Oriana, and the Link crew there created a whole series of lessons for the incoming 8th graders from El Dorado. So El Dorado came over, and then they were able to go, and it was all student led, and the students, I sat in on a photography presentation where the students talked about the photography pathway. I sat in on a leadership one where they talked about their different clubs and things of that nature. And then the students would, tour the school, sit in the classrooms, and those are Concord High School students presenting on presentations that they put together. And those are 8th grade students sitting in the audience there. And Concord High, there was something Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday all going on at Concord High. I tried to get by there, but if I don't go to all schools, and I get in trouble, but I couldn't just hang out at Concord High all week, but I did go by there all 3 days. Also, it was the Lunar New Year, year of the fire horse, which I understand is extremely special, and it only comes around once in many, many years. And so I think the next one will come around when I won't be around, but here they are celebrating it over at Walnut Acres. And just, I grew up in Berkeley and obviously close to San Francisco, and I just remember taking field trips to San Francisco during Chinese New Year, and I remember the dragons. I remember how it impacted me. And so just seeing this picture and seeing those kids in the dragon, something they won't forget, right? And this is culture. This is something that they're learning and being able to experience and touch and be a part of. So was very excited to see that. Then just lastly, want to talk about Gregory Gardens, about I called it Blackout 2026. Things happen. We live in California, and we're going to get earthquakes. We're going to have fires. We're going to have rain. We're going to have power outages. We've had multiple power outages in our district over the last couple of years, whether it's PG&E issues over in Walnut Creek, or whether it's just a random school, or whether there's a flood or a water main break, all of which we had. And so there was an issue over at Gregory Gardens. I believe it was a lightning strike that knocked out power. And you know what? And when these things happen, we have to show up and be our best for our students. That is our jobs. And everyone, it was a tough situation, but they pulled it together. That's our maintenance staff. And I know that guy's hat looks a little distorted there, but that's just the picture. But our maintenance staff, really worked extremely hard to get out there, work with PG&E, try to resolve the situation, try to fix it. We had to go and get a huge generator. I do not know what that thing costs, but I know when it costs, if I have a leak in my house and I got to call a plumber, that's going to cost me an arm and a leg. So I can only imagine what that costs. So that shows like we are committed to that. Our number one priority is our students, is keeping our students safe, keeping the routines consistent, calming them. Hats off to all of the staff over at Gregory Gardens who worked in uncomfortable situations. But case people don't understand, us as every employee of Mount Diablo, we are basically emergency service workers in the case of an emergency. That means we have to remain at our post until dismissed by the superintendent if there is an emergency. So I appreciate everyone coming together at that site and dealing with the uncomfortableness in 2 days. For 2 days, we tried our best. We got a generator after the first day. We could not get it working on the second day. We had the same issue over at Foothill, but it was only the one section of the campus, and we were able to fix that. But everyone's intention is to get the power back on and get our classes warm and get the energy back up. So there's no sinister thing going on there. And I was just proud of the people who really stepped up and pulled it together. The picture on the right is like after the blackout, and they were just happened to be doing energy lessons with light. And so I think the caption on this picture was like, "We never appreciated light so much after we lost it." So hey, emergencies happen, things happen. There's no disrespect happening. There's no sinister plan in mind. I want to thank all the staff there that was uncomfortable and cold. I get it, but like we have to take care of our students, and that is our ultimate goal. And I know a lot of people locked arms and worked hard. I know we had parents who were very appreciative, who brought out treats, and staff who calmed their kids and did things like that. And so just for everyone who behaved appropriately and stuff like that, I really appreciate it. And we have a great team when emergencies happen, and I can tell you it's not going to be the last. We're going to have issues that happen. Power is going to go out. There's going to be floods. There's going to be water breaks. There's going to be that. We have a very clear protocol of when we would actually close a school. And just so everyone's aware, because Northgate has no windows, when the Northgate power goes out, then we evacuate and we give it an hour and then we dismiss. We don't do that at any other school. If the water goes out for more than an hour, hour and a half, then that would be a reason why we would evacuate. We don't evacuate when the power goes out. So those are just some things, and we have a very, very clear protocol in all of our safety plans that outlines that. I hope people review those and look at those so they know sort of what is going to happen in the case of an emergency. So kudos to all those folks. I love those little students there looking at the big generator working, and I love our maintenance workers, you know, talking to our students, and because that's who they're here for. They're here to serve those young students. And then I like the importance of knowing where electricity and light comes from in that last picture. So that concludes my report. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
That takes us to our consent agenda. Is there anything anybody would like to pull from the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the items listed under the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
by Trustee Zawi, second by Trustee Barrero Oriana. Okay, so Trustee Barrero Oriana, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay. And that passes 5-0 with support from our student trustee. Okay. That takes us to our business items. 17.1, review and
Yes.
potential approval.
We have Mr. Sheehy who is going to present this.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Clark, Board of Trustees, President Mason. By law and board policies, school districts are required to sunshine our initial collective bargaining proposals. And tonight before you, you have our initial proposal between MUTSPA, our School Psychologists Association, and Mount Diablo Unified School District. We look forward to the 2026-2029 successor contract negotiations that we are beginning to plan for.
Any questions?
Madam President, I move that the board approve the school course achievement as, oh, no, sorry. That approval of the sunshine proposal for the 26-29 successor contract with BUDSPA.
Second.
We have a motion by Trustee Lawrence, a second by Trustee McDougal.
Yes.
Trustee Guerrero Oriana, how do you vote?
Yes.
And that passes 5-0 with consent from our student trustee. Okay. Next, 17.2, review and potential approval of school plans for student achievement.
Yes, we have Ms. Filios. I know she's been bringing these throughout the year, and just as different school site councils meet and approve their plans, then they come to this board. So Ms. Filios.
Yes, so tonight I'm bringing El Dorado's plan, Mount Diablo High School's plan, and Ignacio Valley High School's plan for approval.
Comments, board members?
I was just so excited about this that I went ahead. So I move that the board approve the student for Ignacio Valley Middle.
And I appreciate those teachers and staff to put them together. It's really is appreciated. Okay, so we have a motion from Trustee Lawrence, a second from Trustee Barrero Oriana. Trustee Barrero Oriana, how do you vote?
Yes.
I guess I could assume that, but that would not be proper.
Thank you so much.
And that passes 5-0 with support from our student trustee. All right, next, 17.3, consideration of challenge to supplemental instructional materials pursuant to board policy administrative regulation 1312.1.
Yes, so we're going to have Susan Hartwick is going to present this item.
Just present it. Yes. Good evening, Board Trustees, Dr. Clark. Tonight, we have an item for review and consideration of a challenge to the supplemental instructional materials reading list. And in this case, the book Lily and Duncan by Donna Gephardt. And the board is asked to consider this challenge and go ahead and take action accordingly. And I'm open to questions as well.
Another question. I move that Lily and Duncan should remain on the pilot list for the district's supplemental reading list.
Second.
Amy, seconded by trustee Mayo. Trustee Barrera Oriana, how do you vote?
Yes.
And it passes 4-1 with trustee McDougal voting against it, but assent from our student trustee. Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
Yes. Next, we have Mr. Sheehy again. He's going to review potential and approval of resolution 25/26-54.
Yes, tonight before you, we have a resolution reducing or discontinuing the number of classified employees based on lack of work or lack of funds for the 26-27 school year. This comes after our annual review of budget development of our sites and outside funded positions, some of our PTA funded positions. A lot of times our outside parent funded positions don't have a fundraiser until later in the spring. And so unfortunately with the statute in the state of California, by March 15th, certificated or classified positions, individuals do need to be notified of a potential layoff with final layoff notices going out by May 15th. And so tonight you have it in front of you. This FTE, we do hope to see it reduced, but based on that outside funded positions. However, there's no guarantee that it will.
Madam President, I move that the board approve resolution 25/26/54, reducing or discontinuing the number of classified employees based on a lack of work or lack of funds for the 26-27 school year.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee Lawrence, and was that trustee McDougal? Okay, trustee McDougal seconded. Trustee Barrera Oriana, how would you vote?
Yes.
And we're voting with regrets.
Hmm?
We're voting with regrets, but
Oh.
it's something that must.
Well, I will say this, I was a classified employee for years, and every year I'd get the letter, and then the jobs would come back, and I'd be back, so we hope that happens in most cases. Okay, and that passes 5-0 with consent of our student trustee, and now we're on 17.5. Review and potential selection of 3 candidates for the 2026 California School Board Association Delegate Assembly election.
Yeah, so this is an action item. We have 3 candidates. We have Mary Rocha, Marina Ramos, and Yolanda Mindrick. Mary's out of Antioch. Yolanda's out of Liberty. I'm not sure where Marina's from. I'm sure.
John Sweat.
John Sweat, thank you. And are we voting for all 3?
Well, there's 3 openings and there's 3 candidates, so either we're.
I move to approve the candidates for CS California School Board Association 2026 Delegate Assembly.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Azalea, a second by trustee Mayo. Trustee Barrera Oriana, how do you vote?
Yes.
And they do advocate for us.
Well, I'm a no vote, but that's okay. There's just someone on there I won't vote for, and I'm not gonna call them out, so.
Okay, that's fine. We all have good days and bad days.
Oh, I'm having a good day. That person's gonna have a bad day. Okay, next is, I would think, are these all just info, all of the board policies and procedures?
One,
No.
we have a couple actions.
That's the first 2.
Is there one action one?
So we
A
have
couple on the bottom, okay, so. Review and potential policies are for, okay, the first one, 17.7. Right?
17.6.
It's, I've still got 17.6 is CSBA on mine.
That's right.
Oh, the board policies and procedure, okay.
So that one's information.
No questions? No, okay, move it on.
This is info as well.
17.7 is info, 1 for first read.
Any questions? Nope. Okay,
17.8 is 1 for approval.
okay. This
Madam,
one we reviewed at the last meeting.
Yep.
Yes.
Madam President, I move that the board approve changes to board policies and administrative regulations per CSBA recommendations as listed here in item 17.8.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by trustee Lawrence, and who seconded first?
They did down there. It's one of those
Trustee
two.
McDougal, okay.
Is it push?
Trustee Barrero Oriana, how do you vote?
Yes.
And that passes 500 with support from our student trustee. That takes us to 17.9, reviewing potential approval of change to board policies from September.
You have 3 for approval.
Yep.
Madam President, I move the board adopt board policy 3515.4, recovery of property loss or damage, the accompanying AR 3515.4, and board bylaw 9005, governance standards.
Thank you, trustee Mayo.
Second.
Second by trustee Nzewi. Trustee Barrero Oriana, how do you vote?
Yes.
That's 500 with consent from our student trustee. 1710, it says action as well.
Yeah, there's 8
Review
for
potential approval from November quarterly.
I move we approve board policy 1000, 1114, 2120, AR 1114, board bylaw 9310, 9321, exhibit 9321-E1, and exhibit 9321-E2 as presented.
Second.
We have motion from trustee Mayo, second trustee McDougal, trustee Barrero Oriana. How would you vote? Oh, I'm sorry. I hear that mail. Okay, second by trustee Lawrence. How would you vote?
Yes.
And that passes 500 with student support. And 1711, right, or 10? 11, yeah. Review and potential approval of changes to board policies, administrative regulations as of the January 26th quarterly update.
Look at that, getting caught up. Thank you, Laura. Team, yes.
Madam President, I move that the board approve item 17.11, the changes to board policies and administrative regulations per CSBA recommendations.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion by trustee Lawrence, a second by trustee McDougal. Trustee Barrero Oriana, how would you vote?
Yes.
And just as we vote, a quick, nobody loves CSBA policies and recommendations more than I do, but are we coming towards an end of having this? Or
They
there's
started
just
where-
okay.
Never.
Okay.
Okay, that that passed 500 with consent from our student. Do we have anything here that we want to talk about for future meetings? Not, I will.
Can I say something in adjournment?
Say something in German if you.
No, in adjournment.
Adjournment, yes.
Sorry.
Another one.
It's my mama's birthday. I had to spend it with you all. So I would like to adjourn in her honor.
Okay.
What's her name?
Done. We're adjourned.
Charlene.
We had a public comment on her mom's birthday.
So sorry. Happy birthday to your mom. Not trying to keep you longer, but we've all stayed here late in order to ask for either feedback on our request for Bancroft for a pause, for an immediate pause, the
We had our
enrollment.
public comment period, hon. It was at the beginning of the meeting.
How do we get on the agenda? I'm sorry. We thought we were here for agenda
Oh, you
item
stated-
21.
Okay, so you're requesting to be put on agenda.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to do it the right way. We waited to the end thinking this was the right way. I truly
Okay.
apologize.
So your request is noted.
Okay, and we'd also like to request a special meeting before the close of kindergarten enrollment period, which ends before the next meeting. So we would love a chance to actually present our information. We've listened and we'd love to present information back because we do find some of the data lacking. And so we'd really, really like a special emergency meeting with all of you before the enrollment for kindergarten window closes.
Duly noted.
Thank you so much. Thank you.